to the cloud. Okay, should be recording now. Okay, so basically, so Robbie, you also said that like you're working at the credit union and you don't necessarily love it, like it's fine, but you're just kind of starting to explore your options, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So I will give you guys, I have like a little slideshow that was about a different topic, but it has like a good intro, I think, that you guys might get some value out of. So I'm going to start with the intro part and then we can hop into the class itself. Because basically what I wanted to do is just go through like why you would want to be in business in the first place, like what it is that you actually want to create with it. And so other than money, like obviously we all show up to work or go into business for money purposes. But I think as women, we are, it's so ingrained in us to be like selfless or selfish, and there's no in between. And I think that we have to make sure that there's like a self-full part is what I call it. So it's like just recognizing the fact that you want to go after something different and that it's okay to like cater to your own wants and needs and dreams. And in the same process, you can like figure out what kind of business you could actually help other people with, but it has to also fulfill you big time, right? Like what's the point of doing it and running your own show if you're going to hate it? And the other thing is that when, especially if you're like working for yourself, if you don't like what you're doing, you don't show up consistently because you don't have to. So at the end of the day, it's like we have to find something that actually fires us up. So I want to talk a little bit about that stuff, but I was just going to quickly hop in and just kind of, Robbie, you've known me like years ago. Her and I worked together. Nikki, just so you kind of have a background, we worked together at a riding stable when we were like, I think I was 18 years old, like forever ago in Jasper. We were at the Pyramid Lake riding stable. So it's just kind of funny how it all comes full circle.
Yeah.
So, but it's cool because I haven't talked to you in forever. And then I just saw you the other day online. And you were like, hey, what's this all about?
Yeah.
Power of online biz. So basically what I did is I kind of did a little snapshot of it. How to start an online business right now. I want to like ideas that are swirling in your head to like an actual action plan that you can actually, move forward on. So earnings disclaimer, you're not going to make $1 million just from watching this class. You have to do the work, obviously. So who's this for? I kind of had in mind, it would be you don't have a business yet, but you've been looking for a smart way to build one. Or if you already have an online business, but you want to add multiple income streams, because I think something that I hear online all the time is if you only have one business that you're doing, like coaching or just courses or just group programs or just like network marketing or whatever, people burn out because they get so exhausted when they don't have multiple things to offer because they're talking about the exact same thing all the time. And sometimes that's really challenging, especially if you're like me and you're kind of like a butterfly and like you can't do Groundhog Day every single day. It makes you crazy. Like that's how I am. So I need to have more than one thing that I can teach or talk about or offer kind of thing. And also like that brings in, sometimes it'll be the same person, but like the needs that you're speaking to and being able to help somebody with can be different, even if it's in the same person. So like, for example, me, like I have food intolerance issues. So that's like a health thing that you could be solving for me. But I also am like super passionate about business and building like freedom for myself and obviously money and all these other things. So it's like, I did some great masterminds that were about building online businesses, and that really caters to that need that I had. So it's just kind of neat how you can put multiple things in place. So my goal for today was for you guys to see that it's totally possible to build your own online biz, and you're not starting from scratch, because we seem to think in our heads like, oh my God, I'm starting from zero. But like maybe the technical side of things, you're starting from zero, but you're leveraging your own strengths and experiences that you already have. And that's like going to be your power. So I want to go from kind of some swirling thoughts, or maybe like those little dreams and hopes that you might not mention to other people, because I think a lot of us keep it in because we don't know like, oh, what is everybody going to think about this? So I want to go from like those swirling thoughts to knowing what to do next, like something tangible that you can move forward on. So just to give you a little bit of background about me, my name is Mara Riapel. I'm married to Reese. He is that handsome firefighter right there. And we have 3 little boys now, which is bananas around here. But I'm the boss. So that's just a little bit. So I was actually in corporate for 10 years after I left the riding stables, Robbie. So I was in insurance, commercial insurance, and I climbed the corporate ladder. So my dad and all 5 of my brothers were in insurance. My dad retired now, but all 5 of them are still in insurance. And so I was making 6 figures before I was 30, and like, which is, pretty good for a girl.
Mhm. Absolutely.
But I was super successful on paper, but I was burnt out so bad, like so stressed, running on adrenaline all the time. My health was just crashing. And I was just totally unfulfilled as well by what I was doing. So it was almost like as soon as the learning curve slowed down, that's when I kind of plateaued and realized that I actually hated what I was doing. I loved the people side of things and solving problem side of things, but I really didn't enjoy day to day what I had to do. And I honestly didn't like the person that I became to be that type of successful in that industry. So I worked with a lot of oil and gas and construction companies. And so it was a tough crowd. So basically I wanted out of the rat race. And when we were on our honeymoon, we read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know if you guys have read that. And I just started like getting really serious about learning as much as I could about wealthy people and their passive income streams and the different multiple ways that they make money and how they leverage one off the other kind of thing. So I decided I was going to figure it out, and I started. So we actually started by buying apartment buildings because I really wanted some investments and passive income in my portfolio. But obviously that's a super long-term strategy. You don't get rich in real estate overnight unless you get super lucky, but that's not really a strategy. So we also had our first baby at the time, little Rye guy, so little there. And then life changed again when we had our second kid, and I was at a crossroad. I had a really good job offer to go back to in corporate, but I didn't want to go. And I knew that like if I went back, I probably wouldn't get out again. So I just knew that I had to get the lady balls and move forward. So I was determined to find the perfect fit. I looked at all kinds of different business options, from like franchises to different consulting gigs to owning my own insurance brokerage, like a whole bunch of different stuff. And then that's actually when network marketing came into my world, which I said no for 8 years because what kind of crazy losers do that? So if you are like, I hate network marketing, I get it. But this is what led me to the online business stuff that I know now. So it's kind of important for me to explain how I got to it. So the business model itself fit perfectly, but I didn't like the way it was done. Obviously, it has a terrible reputation, and for good reason. Everybody bothers everybody they know until they run out of people to talk to, and then they quit. So I wanted to do it a different way. I wanted to do it online. That was like a big thing for me because I wanted to still have flexibility with my kids. And I wanted to do something that challenged me and excited me, which means it has to be different all the time. So typically in network marketing, you go in and you have to do the exact same thing twice a day, every single day. And that's like their path to success. And I was like, no. So I started looking kind of more at the online space, and I was like, what are other women doing out there? So a lot of them are actually what I would consider to be professionals online, and they're building out multiple streams of income. They're using, obviously, personal branding is huge, which basically means it's not like logos and fonts and colors. It's like, who are you? What do you represent? What are you about? How do you connect and relate to people? Like, what do they think of when they think of you? And it's all based on what you get to put out into the world online. So, I mean, obviously, we all know that people have websites. They use funnels, which is like an automated system of just like the steps you basically want somebody to take to get them from point A to point Z. Email marketing, obviously, we all know about that. We get emails every single day from companies. Coaching packages. So a lot of them were actually coaching, and that actually brought really good leads into their business for other, like offers that they had. Books, some of them were doing ebooks and all those kinds of things. So I was like, well, I want to do that too. So I love Tony Robbins. So if you want to be successful, find somebody who's achieved the results you want, copy what they do, and you'll achieve the same results. So I was like, yep, this sounds good. So who does this work for? Literally anybody who needs clients. So you might be thinking, you have no idea how to do any of this, or what would you even offer or sell? Or maybe you have an idea, but don't know how to tie multiple income streams together. This is the fun part. Don't overcomplicate it. So step number 1, it's like brainstorm what you love. So like, what fires you up? What do you friggin' love talking about? What do you love learning about relentlessly? What gets you so excited about the future? What are things people typically ask you about or come to you for like advice, or, because maybe you have experience with something and they're always asking you about it, or you're the go-to. And then what do you actually want to build out? Because like I mentioned earlier, if you hate it, you won't do it consistently over time. So what's the point of starting it? I chose 3 pillars, and I suggest you do something similar. And I have one for a product, one for my business, like in terms of, well, network marketing is one of my income streams. So I like to have things that cater and bring me people that will buy other product or join my business, like as an actual business partner. But also, I think that the biggest change that I've had in my life has been around like mindset and personal growth. So I talk about that too. So my 3 that I picked were add health, build wealth, and grow yourself. And typically I'm working with ex-corporate professionals who want a different lifestyle because a lot of them are burnt out or unfulfilled. So that's kind of my story too. So step number 2, it's like then figure out what problem you can solve. So start with you. Like, where did you start? What are things you personally struggle with the most? This is usually your niche. Or the most common things that others struggle with, obviously. And somebody is probably a few steps ahead of you. So go find those gurus online, which are just people who are in that space, find out what they're offering, what they're teaching, how they're funneling people into their email lists or offers. And then you can obviously start to figure out like what you would want to do too, and how you can put your personal touch on it, because we're all different. And like, have you ever heard the same quote 50 times, but it resonated totally differently with you when somebody said it, the way they said it? Like, doesn't that seem, it happens all the time to me. And I'm just like, I think I've heard that 50 times. And today it's sunk in, because you have to explain it your way, because somebody out there needs you to say it that way. So step number 3, then you figure out how to tie it all together. So you're going to find common threads between your income streams. How can you build out offers that will pull the right types of people to you? Because another thing that happens when we go out and start online is we're like, well, what about Mary from high school? What is she going to think of this post? Or, you know, what's going to happen if my aunt, you know, Janet is like, I don't know what you're talking about. So we start to get into our heads big time. So what we really need to focus on is like blocking out all the noise and talking to that one girl that you want to help with something. That starts to pull, because it's that language that really, really will catch somebody. And that's what pulls the right people to you. And that's who you want to build out with your whole audience. And even if those people don't buy from you, they might refer you or recommend you to other people or share your content, and it will lead you to people who actually need you. So basically, it's like, how can you deliver real value and become a trusted expert? And again, don't get in your head. Most of us are a chapter or 2 ahead of other people, not PhDs in the subject. So like, I teach tons about clean eating. I teach tons about essential oils. I teach lots about supplements. And I am definitely not like a holistic nutritionist or a functional medicine specialist. You know what I mean? But I can talk about it because I have the experience, because I have lived in those shoes of being like, I thought essential oils were a total fad, and I was so skeptical of it. And now I'm like, what? I was won over because I watched it literally change what was happening with my kids over and over. And then I was like, okay, maybe this, you know, so I don't pretend that I know all the science about it, but I just talk about what I know about, you know, just like any product that you can recommend. So again, like, just remember, you don't have to be an expert in something to start teaching somebody something that you know about. And if you don't know enough yet, then get going and learn more, because you totally have time. We always get it in our heads too, where we're just like, I don't know. And it's like, man, if you took the next 6 months to learn something inside and out, and then turned around and taught it to somebody, like, you have time. You know, we have so much time left in our lives. We got to start using it. So originally I thought building online was going to be like posting pretty pictures, inspirational quotes at the exact time each day. But it's actually really about a personal brand, which I mentioned earlier. So what do people think of or feel when they think of you? That's your brand, and you create it online. Now, that doesn't mean like airing all your dirty laundry on the internet, obviously. It's like creating something where people find value from it. And you also really want to make sure that you're putting your personal touch on it, because people, especially right now, are just dying to connect. Yeah. So if they feel like relatable, like if they see themselves in what you're saying or what you find funny, or like things that have happened that you're like, damn it, or, you know, like, they want to be entertained, but they also want to be able to connect. So it's like, am I like that? Yes, I'm like that. Am I like that? No, I'm not like that. I don't like that. So you really want to be able to like attract and repel at the same time, because that's what brings the right people to you. So ultimately, you want to get people who in your audience who know you, like you, and trust you. That's the goal of online business. So you want different offers, set up different ways for people to work with you. So it keeps it fun and exciting in your business. Again, like me, like, I'm a butterfly. So I can't do the same thing every day. And your brand is your power. So it does bring you like those ideal people that you want to talk to. So building a personal brand that sets you apart from everyone else and brings you real people you want to work with is a key. I'm going to touch really briefly on funnels because I think it's important. I think this sometimes everybody kind of feels like that's over their heads, especially if you guys are still kind of in the beginning stages and not sure exactly what to do. But funnels are really important because we get so burnt out from doing manual follow-up with people all the time. So you want to build like an email list, for example, that you can touch all 700 of your people all in one shot once a week, as opposed to like trying to sit there and text all those people, right? So the whole idea is to go out and build your audience or your network online of people who are interested in what you say, but you need to have the ability to touch, like the touch points need to be easy to do. So old school says make a list and new school says build a list. So like I said, texting on handwritten lists versus building an email list. And one thing I want to mention when you guys are thinking about how to build online, it's like you don't own your social media following, but you do own your website and your email list. So Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or whoever could literally just decide to shut you down one day. And so you really need to make sure that you have other ways to contact those same people that you've worked so hard to get into your world, because literally it can go away instantly and you have no control over that at all. And so it's really important to just make sure that you remember, like, what is the thing that I actually own myself in my business? And it is your website and your email list. So obviously lead generation, sales. I feel like we should just kind of pause here now because I don't want to overwhelm you guys because I know you're just kind of getting started. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and hop back in. So first of all, do you guys have any questions or do you feel like this is too much?
No, I don't feel like it's too much. I admire you. Like you're a very good communicator and you're very confident, and I'm just loving this presentation.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think right now, like, let's hop into more of like a conversation then. So just like off the top of your head, obviously it doesn't have to be fancy, but like why, other than money, like obviously we have to make money, but like why do you actually, like what do you actually want out of an online business?
Freedom. I want to be able to, I've spent the last 13 years just being away from home and being outside of the country, and just I want to be able to stay at home, start a family, and be able to just create something that's for myself, because I'm so used to working extremely hard for a large corporation, that really means nothing. So I'd rather put my time and effort into something that means something to me and my family.
Yeah, totally. I can totally relate to that. So like freedom, flexibility, and like your own independence too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Robbie, do you want to share what is it that you might be going after
Yeah,
with online business?
I want to wake up every morning and go do something that I love
Mm.
and just be excited to start the day and, just be raring to go. That's my biggest thing. I mean, what I'm doing now, I like, but I don't love it. There
Yeah.
are days where it's like, I really don't want to go to the office one more day this week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm willing to bet that you're really good at it.
I have days where I'm less good, but for the most part, I don't mind it. It's good. I like, and like you, I like the people part and the interactions and stuff. And that's something I don't think that I would want to give up.
Yeah.
But I think, maybe the work itself is just not as fulfilling as I maybe would like it to be.
Yeah, I totally get it. That's kind of how I felt big time. Okay, so basically it's like we're taught to have jobs. And so it's like, well, what can this job give me? Instead of thinking about like, what do I actually want my life to look like? And can I match a business to it? So I wanted you guys to kind of like answer that question just to start getting your juices flowing about what that actually looks like in terms of how you want to feel. Because that's actually one of the key things that we're not taught, I think, in society is like, figure out what you want to do based on how you want to feel. Like, who do you want to become, right? Which is why I actually love talking about like personal growth and stuff, because I think that, you know, I mean, it's cliche, but like, it's not about the top of the mountain, it's about the climb, right? It's like, who do you get to meet along the way? Who influences you? Who do you get to help? Like, how do you grow along the way? And I think it's so powerful. And again, just like circling back to when I was talking at the beginning about like being self-full instead of selfish or selfless, we celebrate people who are selfless and give everything to everybody else. But like most of the time when that happens, there's nothing left for us at the end, right? So the next part, so it's like, yeah, why do I want to do this other than money? Obviously, we are all in business to make money. So we can stop apologizing about that if you ask me. So the next question would be just like in terms of brainstorming, because you guys are just kind of idea stage, who do you want to serve? Like, have you thought at all about kind of who you would want to help in the world? Nikki, do you want to go first?
Oh gosh, so there a lot of people. There's a lot of issues in the world. I guess like poverty, human rights, people in North Korea, uh, Palestine, like all, like, I don't know, I guess just people who are not as fortunate as us and are ruled more by larger governments.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's what I would want to aim my business towards. So I don't know. I guess I would like to reach out also to people who are in need of a friend, or they need to just vent, um, you know, talk about their emotions and things like that, if that makes sense.
Well, because I think that you have a powerful story with anxiety, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like, even from sending out essential oil samples, like this summer, especially, it was like, it blew my mind how many women are like suffering, right? Like literally suffering.
I know. Like it's like over the past 10 years, something has shifted and so many people are dealing with anxiety. It's unbelievable.
But a lot of them are also so confused and feel alone because they don't
Yeah,
know what's happening. So they need to feel connected to somebody who has a similar story.
right.
And I think that's like, I mean, if you think about what are the kinds of things that you used to lay in bed at night and like worry about, somebody else is
Yeah.
still going through that right now. And then you could speak to that person and help her through those initial stages to get past
Yeah.
them.
You know, you're so right, because I didn't even know that the feelings I was having were like was anxiety.
Mhm.
I, thought I was so alone and no one else ever felt the way I was feeling. And I just didn't feel like I would ever be able to function again like a
Yeah.
normal human being. So you're so right. You're so right.
I think that when we think about business, we think about like product, service, very like robotic, but
Mhm.
really the thing that sells in this day and age is people feeling like you can help them with that deep, dark inner fear that they have, that they're struggling with. You know,
Right.
it's so interesting and it's neat to watch, because I think the more that we show people, especially online, it used to be like, have everything perfect, have everything spiffy, like, and now it's like people don't want the fake crap. They
Right.
want real and they want relatable and they want to know that they're not alone and that they're part of a community of other people who understand them.
Yeah, you're so right.
And that's actually the business. Like, the interesting thing too about like essential oils, for example, for me was like, I had no idea that by helping people through food intolerances, for example, like that's actually the real problem. And then I just happen to have tools for them to use, which is advice, different resources they can go to, people they can follow for recipes so that they can bake egg free, for example, like silly things like that, that they're literally struggling with. And then
Yeah.
like essential oils, like what happens when you do eat this stuff and you feel like crap, like here's some stuff to help with that. So for me, it was like, I never went into that business because I wanted to sell essential oils. I knew essential oils would sell online, but for me, it's like, what is the real business here? And it's like, it's that connection to somebody who doesn't feel like they're by themselves anymore.
Oh, you're so right.
Fun though, right? Like,
Yeah, you're so right.
but it makes it feel like the business itself starts to feel different than so mechanical and robotic, I guess.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it would make such a difference if on a day-to-day basis, you were able to help someone and help them grow rather than just being robotic and doing the same things over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It would be so much more fulfilling.
So the cool thing about it is like the more times I have conversations with people, the more I know how to help because it's that personal connection. Like I have a thing on my wall right beside me here in my office and it's like, who am I talking to? How do I want her to feel? What do I want her to know today? Like just those kinds of things. And it just helps you kind of get back into perspective. Like we can go after like the rah masculine energy of like, you know, business, but the feminine side, the feminine energy is actually what connects us all and doesn't have to be like a man or a woman, like it's female or male.
Right.
It's like the masculine and feminine energies are like the connected piece. And that's actually like you need both. Otherwise you lose people because then you're just a number and people can feel that in business.
Absolutely.
Robbie, do you have I haven't literally talked to you for how old are we? 20 years. Oh my God, I'm so old. What's your story? Like, what have you been through in the last 20 years that you think you could help people with?
Well, and that's where I'm just struggling a little bit. And I was actually much along the same lines. That was my first instinct was, I also struggle a lot with anxiety. And that was honestly my first instinct when you asked us at the beginning to think about, you know, what do I want out of this? And I would have to, I guess, really sit down and do some soul searching and find out whether or not that's something that I would be able to throw out there online and throw out there for the world.
Yeah. Big balls,
you know,
man.
but that, yeah, and that is definitely the direction that I was looking at as well.
So do you have kids? I don't even know. Are you married? Like, I don't even know.
I'm married. I don't have any kids.
You like dogs though.
I do. Yeah. My dog is actually asleep on the couch here beside me.
I figured. So would you say that, well, one of my favorite things to do is like dig into somebody's story to find like the superpower within it. Like I'm such a nerd with that kind of stuff, but if you want help with that, like I'll totally do that. I think like we don't need to like dive deep into like your personal life right this second, but just knowing how many of us have anxiety, and that's been a major problem for us. But we would all have very different stories and experiences with our anxiety. And so that's what I mean by there's people out there that need you because they feel alone because they won't relate to all the other things about anxiety. But if they hear a specific piece of a story, or like when you write something and they hear themselves, like literally the words that they actually think to themselves in your post, it's like all of a sudden, and I totally understand, like, especially at the beginning, it's like, I don't know if I could get vulnerable like that and throw that stuff out there, but there's ways to do it without telling the world your whole story. You know what I mean? Like, hey, there's a lot of people out there that struggle with anxiety, and I would love to just share that I am, you know, here's what it looks like for me. You know, some days I feel like somebody's standing on my chest, and some days I have like the bad butterflies in my tummy. Like, you don't have to get into total details and be like, you can withhold as much of your personal details as you want to, but you can still connect with people because they're like, yeah, I feel like somebody's standing on my chest too. And then you're like, so here's how I move through it. Right. So just keep that in mind. Like, in other words, don't be scared because you don't have to share like everything about yourself in order to be like to provide value for other people, I guess is what I would say about that.
Right.
Because it's scary.
Okay.
Yeah, when you first start online, like when I first started doing live videos, I was just like, I would be shaking and sweating and just like, you know, and I'd get off the video and like, you know, when you go online, you think 8 million people are going to watch your videos, which is not true at all, especially when you start. Usually it's like your mom, maybe one of your best friends, and like probably your mom's other friend. Like, it's so funny. You're just like shaking and sweating and you feel so crazy and you're like tripping up over words. And now, because I've done it so many times, I can go on live anytime I want and I don't care at all. Like, it's so natural for me. but that's what I mean about like the person that you become along the way. It's like you have to like push yourself just a little bit outside your comfort zone in order to like get that to be your new normal. And then you can push a little bit again, right? So you don't want to go from like, I'm a very private person to like, here's everything online. But like, if you want to slowly learn to build a certain type of business, then it's okay to just like take those little mini micro steps without feeling like, I don't think I could ever do that. It's like, well, what if I just learned to do, you know, a blog post? Or what if I just learned to do like just a piece of content, literally like 4 lines? Or what if I just started posting inspirational quotes that I think would help somebody else that's similar to me? Like it can be like the smallest little ways that you start to build stuff, but it's just to gain confidence and know that like, oh, that actually wasn't that bad. And then you can slowly kind of work your way forward. So I encourage you to like explore where you're at, because I think that personal stories are literally like, they're what help people through their tough times. Okay, so that's who we want to serve. Obviously, this is just like a brainstorming exercise for tonight. Like, don't feel like, oh my gosh, like you, and even if you decided this is my business plan, and then down the road, 6 months, you're like, no, I think I need to change it. Like, it's okay to change and pivot and do whatever you need to do at any time, right? So basically, I wanted to say like, why do you want to build a business? Who do you want to serve? And then the next part would be, how many income streams? Like map it out big picture. And then how could your different income streams feed each other? So what I mean by that is like, for me, it's like I have coaching, I have courses, I have a product, and I have like network marketing is like one of my income streams here. But like the coaching part and obviously the courses part are the ones that can bring people in who are interested in health or who are interested in learning online business. Or the coaching part is like, people are super driven, but they have mindset blocks all the time and limiting beliefs. If you're the kind of person that needs help with that, it probably means you're trying to move forward. So it's like, you're still attracting the right type of people for like all of the different things that I offer. So when like, you don't have to have this figured out tonight. I just kind of wanted to throw it out there so that you have an understanding of what you want to map out eventually. So it's like, what's possible? You can have a blog, you can have courses that you've recorded that are like, you know, you can literally like package them up and sell them down the road. And you're not going to build all of this in the first month. Like, don't forget that this can be like a, you know, 1 to 3 year plan or whatever. But I just want you to understand how many different income streams there can be. Because I think that everybody thinks like, oh, I'm in a business. Well, no, you can spread yourself out and attract cool people that you can find different ways to serve them too. So hopefully that's kind of clear. And then what else did I write here? Don't waste years in your head about all the things. Just figure out how you can move someone forward. What does she need? So like, for example, a lot of people say like, I want to empower women to live their best lives, but it's like, well, that's not clear. Like if somebody reads that, it's just like anybody else that posted that. So you want to get really clear on who you're serving. And that was like the whole point of that exercise. So it was like, I like to work with ex-corporate professionals or professionals who would like to be ex-corporate, who want lifestyle change through online business. And so that's like what I've finally niched down to. It took me forever to get there though. I used to think my ideal person would be like moms, but I realized it's a personality type, not like a demographic that I like to work with. So it's people who want something different, who want to get out of the status quo and like build success their own way. That's who I love to work with because it fires me up to have the conversations every day because they're different every day, right? So you just kind of want to like keep in mind like, what would I want to do? Like, who would I want to help? And what would I want like ultimately my business to look like? Like, would I like to just work online? Would I like to have one-on-one clients? Would I like to do, you know, courses? Would I like to just do like webinars? Or like, there's all these different ways that you can build. So then you have to figure out what platform you want to build your audience on. So obviously we're connected through Facebook, like all 3 of us. But Instagram obviously is so popular right now. So is TikTok. One of the girls that was going to come today, I'll send her the replay. She's like huge on TikTok, like bananas. So many people follow her on TikTok. It's awesome. So it's like, where would you start to have the most fun when you're building your community, right? And then you can also repurpose your content onto the different platforms quite easily. So you just want to change it for the type of content that it does the best on those sites. So TikTok is very like, they want information, but in a very entertaining way. Instagram is very much about beautiful pictures. And then Facebook, I would say, is more about a conversation still. So just kind of having that stuff in mind for like the type of personality you are. And then finding support, training, mentors, and a community so that you're in business for yourself, but never by yourself. It's so important, I think, when we go to do online business, we often feel stuck, and having girls that you can message or quickly chat with and just be like, I feel like imposter syndrome happens to us all the time. It's like, who am I to be doing this or teaching this? But like anybody who becomes successful had to go through that same crap in their heads, and they still do. They say bigger business, bigger problems in your head. Like that's how it is. So it's so important to find other girls, other women that you can connect with that have your back, because they're the ones that give you the confidence to have what I always like to say, the lady balls, the freaking rocket and go, right? Even when you don't want to because you're scared. It happens to all of us all the time. So the other thing I was going to just talk about is like in terms of brainstorming something out, just think about like what could your first offer be? And again, if you guys want to chat about this, like and find, like dig into your personal stories and figure out what that would look like for you, like we can do that after the call. I can just book a quick 30-minute coaching call for tomorrow or something whenever you guys have time. I would love to just like help you find that like, it's like almost like a piece that will start to unlock ideas that will come at you intuitively. Like I get the best ideas in the shower, for example. And it's like, you have to have an idea to create the opening in your brain pathways or something for the next big idea and the next big idea. So it doesn't all happen overnight, but like, you just want to like open yourself up to those possibilities, and then the world starts to open up. It's like an intuitive thing, which I always thought was crap when I was in corporate, but now I follow my intuition and it's way more fun in life. So like brainstorm it out. What could your first offer be? And then once you kind of have an idea where you would want to go with it, then you want to write out kind of a content plan and a calendar, because you want to build an audience, which when you start, every single one of us starts with 0. So it's easy for us to look at, you know, like $1 million earners out there online and be like, well, it's easy for her to launch a program because she's got, you know, 400,000 followers. And she will tell you that she started at 0, just like everybody else. You have to just start somewhere. So don't be afraid of that either. And then eventually you're going to want some kind of a form or a website where people can go and put like name, email, I'm interested in this. Because now when you go to talk about it, makes it psychologically feel different because they've already raised their hand and said, hey, I'm interested in this. It changes. I think most of us don't want to go into business because we're afraid of sales or coming across as pushy or salesy or gross. And the way to get around that and away from that is to put an offer out there and allow people to say they're interested before you ever talk to them about it, right? So it just makes the whole thing feel better. And then also, while you're having a form where somebody says, I'm interested in this, you know, then you build your email list. So I had a big essential oil sampling funnel, for example, which was just like a form that people could go in if they wanted to try essential oils. And then they would tell me what they were struggling with, which 100%, I don't know, it was 100, but like at least 80% was anxiety or stress. And then we would hop on the call, like a phone call together. And so all those girls, so there's like 400 of them, are on my email list about health. So the way I've set myself up is I have like business interests. So I basically segment my email list, like separate them by add health or build wealth. So that when I'm emailing my add health people, it's not going to, like, I wouldn't have sent them the link for this webinar tonight because they're interested in health. And eventually maybe I can get them to join my other email list, but I don't do that without their permission. You know what I mean? So it's fun to be able to segment those two. But you want to be able to build your email list because those are your touch points, like I said before. So just like understanding why you want to do this business, who you want to serve, what you might want to offer, how you want to offer it out into the world, and then make a plan and decide when you want to do it. So I think that we allow ourselves to have all these great ideas. Like I'm in the middle of a food intolerance sampling idea where I have it all literally written out of exactly what it would look like. I don't know if you can see this. I even have like the boxes of each step that it's going to be. And I have this amazing funnel, which is like an idea of like how I take a cold audience and turn them into people who know me, like me, trust me. I've added value, they trust me. And now it's like we're having a different conversation. Maybe they'll buy something, right? It's a completely different outlook than me just posting things on Facebook, for example, willy-nilly, hoping that somebody's going to be like, hey, I like essential oils. Like that doesn't happen. That's not the way you run your business. So like, but I have this great idea, but I haven't actually scheduled it in for when I can actually get it done. And so therefore it's already been sitting there for like a month already. And I'm like, I could totally help a ton of people with this thing, but I didn't schedule it in. So I'm in the middle of trying to hire a nanny right now, which is like a side note, just so that I can have like more time, because I have 3 little kids. Like it's a gong show there every day, which is it's just a hurdle I have to cross. It's just something I have to figure out. So I'm going to hire, I used to have a nanny that came twice a week, and it was like a blast. But she's been gone for a long time because her family came. But I need another one. So that's like one of my main priorities, because I have all these great ideas, but I can't get to them. So you guys, you don't have kids, frick man, cruise, get that stuff done before you die down. Although if you have a full-time job, it's a little different too. But I just think if you want to start a business, you've got to figure out why you're doing it, who you want to talk to, what you want to offer them, how you want to do it, how you want to show up, and then when you're going to get started. Because if you don't, then it just continues to be these great thoughts swirling around in your head, and it never ends up being anything. So do you guys have any questions? Like, was this helpful at all? What would you think that you would need from me? Like, if I could give you advice tonight, like what would be something that you would want to know? You can talk, don't worry. There's no right or wrong.
I'm not sure. I guess my question would be kind of, where do you feel you're at right now in your business? Do you feel like you're in a good place?
Yeah, I feel like as soon as I actually get more time,
yeah,
I think I know with like 100% certainty in my heart that like as soon as I have more time to be able to do it focused time, that I will be able to build out all these ideas that I have, and not just the network marketing piece, because that's basically the only one I've gone after. I did some coaching for a couple of years too, which was great. But what I really like to do is help women, and a lot of my clients were guys. So that wasn't exactly who I wanted to work with. Like I enjoyed it, but I wanted to kind of do something a little different. So I'm actually in a place where I'm like desperate to have more time to work. Like I want to work so bad. It's that's where I'm at. Literally today about it. I'm like, we need childcare. He's like, okay, fine, hire it out.
That's great.
That's where I'm at. But I mean, it takes, you gotta know that you're not gonna have all the answers or all the ideas in the beginning, and you just have to like put one foot in front of the other. Like my website's all built out. I'll change it 100 times between now and next year, I'm sure, because I change things all the time. But like the other thing is that when you want to get into business, like you want to start learning quickly. Like have your idea, but then know that you don't know anything and you're going to suck at first, and then get help with it, and then move forward. So that's the thing, is like you got to get out of your head and into action.
And that's a big one, getting out of your head and into action, because you're so right when you say we have all these amazing ideas, but then they're just ideas.
And isn't it interesting? Have you ever noticed how if you have a really good idea, if you don't act on it, it loses momentum. And then like a couple days later, you're like, I don't know if I like that.
Not that great. Yeah.
But like the idea didn't change, but you lost the momentum of
right.
it.
With the self-doubt and negative self-talk and stuff.
Yeah. Or sometimes you come up with a new idea, but then if you continuously don't act on any of them, then you start to regret it. Yeah. And then you're actually like, it's like the reverse. Like you stayed in your comfort zone, so you're still comfortable, but now you're uncomfortable because you haven't moved forward, right?
Right.
It's like that happens to all of us all the time. Yeah. Robbie, do you have one?
Yeah, actually, I guess, how long in your business did it kind of take you to get from zero to actually having a sustainable business?
Well, I would say that if I hadn't had kids, it would have happened a lot faster. But I would say that like what would be sustainable in terms of income? Because I think it's important to talk about like what you need out of a business in order to make it worth it for you to go after it. Like some people go into online business and want to make 500 bucks a month, and some people want to make 5,000, and some people want to make 50,000. So it's like a completely different range of what you can do.
Right, for sure. I guess, I couldn't even really put a number on it, but I guess for me, it would be more like where it becomes like a full-time job, where it becomes like you're busy at it, not just, okay, well, I posted something this week and
Yeah.
now I'm waiting for somebody to follow me.
Right. Okay, well, I still think that's kind of like a little bit hard for me to answer just because, like you said, it depends how much time you have to put into it and the types of actions that you take. Because for me, for like the first 3 years, when I was still having babies, like when they were little, I was kind of in learning mode constantly, and I never took action. Or I would sporadically, but you don't build momentum sporadically. You have to stay consistent with it. So I would say Rhodes was born, he's 18 months old right now. And I would say that I basically started being consistent, like not with the learning stuff. I did hundreds of hours of learning before, which is fun because I'm able to tell girls, like, don't do what I did, move forward, learn as you go. This is ridiculous, So I would say probably I've been showing up consistently more since like March of this year. So March, June, July. So 9 months I'm at right now. And I'm probably within the last 3 months is when I started to really see some momentum building.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep, you betcha. I just wasn't sure, like, am I going to get discouraged if I don't see results in a month? Or,
of course you will. That's why you got to find other girls who have been there before, because they'll be like, this is going to suck before it's awesome. It's just
right. Okay.
I think also we think online business needs to be like an instant thing, but that's the mentality that we have from going to a job. And we think like, well, I put in 18 hours, like where's my $20 an hour or whatever? Like, you know what I mean? Like but that's a mentality that we have to decide to get past, because when you're building something like this, you're going to work your butt off and get paid like crap for the first while. But then all of a sudden you'll hit like a little peak where all of a sudden you'll start to see that momentum build. And then you're going to feel like, oh, how is this getting so much easier? And part of it will be because you suck less, because at first, when you do anything, you suck at the beginning. That's how it is. You got to learn. I love that. So one of my girlfriends, Candace, she is on my doTERRA team, and she was like, I don't know anything about any of this stuff. She's just like, I'm just going to invite people to your stuff. And I was like, okay, so that's what she's doing. And it's awesome because in the meantime, she's learning lots of different things about online business. And now she wants to also add in her, like she's going to do health and mindfulness coaching as well. And so she's going to be able to build all of that out while she's learning from me, but just leveraging my stuff. So I think that's what I mean. Like if I had been able to go do that, I think I would have gone faster, but I was winging it by myself, taking courses and all the different freebies and following the gurus and getting on people's email lists and watching a million webinars. And like, I just didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly where I am right now is I'm clueless, absolutely clueless.
Yeah. And that's 100% fair when you first start. I think the thing that you just need to decide is if you do get a good idea for what you want to do moving forward, it's like, then you have to decide, am I going to hire a coach? Am I going to join like a team like we have with the Wild Hearts? That's what we call our team. So that you can learn for free essentially as you go and leverage our knowledge and our, like every week we have like a coffee chat in our Facebook group. Are you guys in in our Happy Healthy Essentials space? Nikki, you are in, right?
Yeah.
You saw the one last week.
Yeah.
Bobby, you're not in my Facebook group yet, are you?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I'm happy to add you if you want to check it out. So Saturdays, we have like Saturday morning coffee chats. And each week we talk about some different random thing that women are struggling with. So this month we're doing give yourself the gift of, and then whatever the subject. This week, it'll be, last weekend it was anxiety. And then this weekend it's going to be sleep, because that's another one of the ones that everybody's struggling with. Yeah. Waking up feeling rested does not exist right now, because everybody's body's in stress response, even if it's subconsciously. It's crazy. So we're going to talk about it. And then we will talk a little bit about essential oils, but it's not an essential oils class. It's women dealing with sleep issues because of stress, basically, is what we're doing right now.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'll totally invite you in there. It's like more of a health group. It's not a business group, but if you want to check it out, you're welcome to come.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, so what was I saying? Oh yeah. So once you decide kind of what you want to do, it's like, do you want to pay to learn? Do you want to, because then it'll go faster. Or do you want to join a team of girls who are doing similar things so that you get to learn for free as you're building and leverage their stuff? Or you could do what I did in the beginning and it just takes longer, is like go learn all the things on your own, which is totally possible. Like we have so much information at our fingertips with like YouTube and Google and blogs, and I mean, you can find almost anything you want online, right? So it's just, it depends how much time you have, how much effort you want to put in, how good you are at not getting discouraged if you're alone in things. Like that's a key for a lot of women, is we need the support. But yeah, it's like, how much time and energy do I want to put in? If I want to go faster, I probably have to pay or join people who are already doing it. If I have lots of time and I'm patient, then I can go do it for free by following a whole bunch of people that are, you know, teaching it without charging for it. Because a lot of people give away a ton of good information, but it just takes longer.
Yeah.
So I think that would be my advice on that. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, like if you guys don't have any other questions, that was kind of all I wanted to cover tonight, but hopefully that helps get your juices flowing. And then I'll just message you guys afterwards, and just if you want to have a chat tomorrow, we can totally do that, or even later tonight. What time is it? 8:30. Yeah, I could do tonight. And then Robbie, I'll add you to the Facebook group as well, and then you can come check out.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Saturday. Oh, and
I work Saturdays, but I'll check it out.
okay, we're having a virtual brunch on December 27th, and we said mimosas are mandatory, or whatever. But we're gonna basically like get together and talk about like, so it's giving yourself the gift of a Sex in the City brunch. And we're going to get a bunch of girls together. We actually have a January reset, which is like our clean eating thing, just so you guys know what it's going to be about. So we have a bunch of guest speakers from our clean eating program for January that are just going to pop in and introduce themselves and talk about what they're going to be talking about during the reset. But also the rest of it is just going to be us like randomly chatting with each other, because everybody's going to be stuck at home. I don't think any province is letting anybody go anywhere for Christmas. So we're going to do like a Sex in the City brunch on the 27th. And it's like for any girls who just want to come and be part of it. It will be fun.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, if you don't have any more questions, I'll let you go and we will chat soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mara.
Thanks,
Yeah, thank you.
have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.